And we're back on Southern Indiana Now. Super excited to have you with us, and also want to give a thanks to our producer, Erica Malone. And we are excited to bring you another great episode all about the outdoors in Southern Indiana. Of course, this literally show could be probably hours long, talking about all the things to do in Southern Indiana, but we just picked a few highlights that we think you're going to want to know about. So, want to remind you, speaking of things happening in Southern Indiana, Crossroads Acoustic Fest, it's time to get your tickets for that event. You can check out crossroadsacousticfest.com, or you can you can still buy tickets at the door, I believe. That'll be happening coming up this weekend. So do get in line for that. You can choose your listening experience. It's going to be a great time. We've got several guests lined up for you today. Let's see what we've got. Thanks for joining us on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask, and we're excited to have Greg Carver with us from Gun World Archery and Pro Shop. They're located in Corydon, Indiana, which is in Harrison County. We wanted to have Greg as part of our Hoosier Homestead guest for this week's show, as Greg is kind of the information on all things being outdoors, and that's what we love about living in Southern Indiana as soon as we're able. And some people are outdoors all year long, but for the rest of us, we like the spring or a little warmer weather. So, Greg, your store is really geared for making memories outdoors. I know you help people really just on lots of fronts, but give us a little bit of background of what's getting ready to happen this spring with some of the things that are that were kind of beloved in Southern Indiana specifically, as far as different hunting seasons, even hunting for mushrooms. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so springtime is a big time for any outdoorsman, especially, we've been cooped up all winter. We've had an actual winter this year. We've had quite a bit of snow, so everybody's kind of ramped up and ready to get outside with these warmer temperatures. And spring brings on several options. Usually it starts into shed hunting. That's when deer lose their antlers and they shed to the ground, and people will go out and look for them. That's a big thing for a lot of people. I enjoy doing it myself. It's a good way to get out, just kind of get some air through the patch. You get some steps in, and you get to find a shed antler, and that can be from a deer that you've been trying to kill for many years, or harvest for many years. And overall, it's just a great thing to do that. And with that, you also get to get out and find some fresh morels, or just I like to call it mushroom hunting. This time, I think it's going to be a really good spring to do that, just because we've had so much snow, we've had so much rain, and the mushrooms start to grow, and we're just about that time of year when things should be popping up, and that's just a great thing to have. I love taking. I always usually keep a bread sack with me, as I call it, just a bread bag or even a grocery bag. Keep that in a pocket with me, because you never know when you're going to find them. Mushrooms are one of those things that are kind of elusive. They pop up some years in one spot, and the next year they may not be there, but that's part of it. But they're a great thing to have. It's kind of a tradition, a treat per se, because not everybody gets to experience a fresh morel. I like to fry them up and eat them, so it's a great thing there. And with that, you get turkey season coming up. Turkey season starts for us in Indiana in late April. It starts a little bit earlier in April in Kentucky. Spring turkey season is probably one of my all-time favorites. There's something about a male turkey. We call them they're a tom. We call them a gobbler, and the reason they gobble. And there's something about when a bird gobbles. It struck me when I was a young adult, and it's stuck with me ever since. And it's one of the things I crave for every year, just to be able to chase them and kind of play the cat and mouse game with them, because they are one of the birds that is they seem kind of not very smart at times, but other times they seem like they're the smartest thing ever. And it's just it's a fun cat and mouse game with it. But with that said, I talked about shed hunting, I've talked about mushroom hunting, I've talked about turkey hunting. The great thing about spring is they all collide together. There's days when I leave to go turkey hunting, and we might turkey hunt for a few hours in the morning. Birds just don't want to work. We're not seeing anything, not hearing anything, kind of like that. Well, we might turn it into a mushroom hunt. I've had days where we mushroom hunted for several hours, found several. We've had days where we mushroom hunted for several hours and not found any. But in the meantime, we're also looking for sheds. So for an outdoorsman, it's just a great time of year. You can do many, many different things all in one day and cover many miles, see ground, see things you don't traditionally see, kind of deal, or only see in the spring per se. So it's just a great time of year for the outdoorsman, or just a general person to get out. Like I said, we've been cooped up. We actually had a winter this year, a lot of snow, and we're actually getting the warmer temperatures now and wanting to get outside. And, at the shop here, we just have everything that would entail to, get you ready to do that stuff and have fun and enjoy yourself while doing it. So spring's a great time of year for just anybody, the outdoorsman in general. We love it. So
yep. And they can
great time.
Yes, no, I love it. And they can find everything they need at Gun World. Can you tell everybody where you're located in Harrison County in Corydon, Indiana?
Yeah, we're located at 1126 Highway 62 Northwest. We're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. We're right across from the John Deere. And for any information, they can also look at us on our social media page as far as Instagram and Facebook. We did get a new one recently, which is GW and Archery Pro Shop. So give us a like and a follow on those pages, and you'll be able to keep up with us and anything that you may need.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. So, Greg, well, I've got you. I know you said you love to eat the morel mushrooms. Do you have after soaking them and all the fun things, and people can Google that for more, but do you have any special, like, little, family secret recipes you want to let us know about?
Not really. Just a little, a soft bath and flour, and throw them in grease.
Yeah, really, yeah, that's how we do. Yep. That's exactly right. A little salt and pepper, maybe. So all sorts of fun things. Okay, well, as you're listening to Southern Indiana Now, you can check out Gun World Archery and Pro Shop. They can get you connected with more fun things about life in Southern Indiana and get you all the products you need to make that happen as well.
Crossroads Acoustic Fest returns to downtown Seymour April 25th and 26th. It's a weekend filled with talented musicians from all over the world, including Ben Chapman, Sean McConnell, and Meg McCree, plus regional musicians Alex Williams, Jason Wilbur, and the Tillers. Performances take place in multiple downtown listening rooms, and your weekend pass gives you access to all the songs and all the stories. Delicious food and beer will be available all weekend. Check out the entire 2025 lineup and get your tickets at crossroadsacousticfest.com.
And we're back on our outdoor episode of Southern Indiana Now. I'm excited to have one of my favorites in the studio with us today. We've got Mike Gibson from Clarksville, Indiana, located in Clark County. He's part of Sportsdrome Speedway, and that made sense to have Mike as part of the show because we're literally talking about outdoors, and you've spent your life doing it and racing. And obviously you can tell we've got a lot of racing talk we're going to have today. So Mike, thanks for joining us, and let's talk about the track.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We are getting ready to start our 79th season. So we actually just kicked it off April the 11th. Then this is our main part of the season coming up right now. We're getting ready to roll in for the whole season, which will run all summer long, all the way up till the end of September. So we have plenty of action, plenty of racing, and we even have some drifting events coming along this year. Last year we had some big things with the big bounce house. We don't have anything like that. There might be a monster truck show or two. We're looking at that, but we're definitely going to do 3 school bus races this year.
I mean, that's fantastic. So let's talk about someone not from here, maybe haven't been to the track. What will the experience at Sportsdrome Speedway, of course, located in Clarksville, just off I-65, but what's the vibe like? What's the experience like? What do they need to bring with them? All the things.
Well, I always say the same thing. Sportsdrome Speedway, where you don't need a seat because you're always on your feet. So there's your excitement right there. We run 4 to 5 different classes of car racing. We run usually 2 to 3 figure 8 classes, which one is a Ford class, one is our modified class. Sometimes we'll even do a smack talker class. So that'd
be the one I'd be in.
Yeah, the smack talker. Kelly likes to talk smack, so she'd be perfect at
it. I promise you I'm going to race one day.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
And we're going to put her in something. We're getting ready to do a big cancer race for buses.
Okay.
So school bus figure 8 race is one of our bigger events. We actually run 3 of them this year. One the end of May, which will be May 31st. One is July 26th, which is for Kentuckiana Friends of V, which is all for cancer research and everything in the Kentuckiana area. So instead of it being just in Louisville, they actually took Southern Indiana a part of this. So we actually just did a big giant golf outing with them Monday, and I can't say enough about the V Foundation because this is Coach Valvano's brother and his nephews that are doing the foundation. So as excitement at the Sportsdrome, I mean, like again, it's live action. You can't get enough of it when you're there.
And it's Saturday
totally
night
different.
racing.
That's right. It's Saturday night during the summer. So, we have so many with 25, 26 events. I know everybody can't come every week because everybody has everything, travel ball, camping. But, most people usually make it out once a year. And, we have those regulars that come every year. And we average about 8 to 800 to 1,200 people a night.
Super exciting. Of course, you have the school bus race. Let's talk about that. That's a big night at the track. You're going to have 3 of them this year. Let's give some press to that.
Yeah, our school bus races, we want to thank, especially, for that, we have our own buses. So we put out our own buses. I have a few guys that come in with their buses. So, like the first bus race, it's sponsored by Roosters, which we're glad in Clarksville. Roosters got burnt down 2 years ago. So anybody that wants to come down, because I know there's no Roosters other than South here.
That's
so
true.
you have to come to Clarksville to visit your Roosters. And they did fabulous job on that brand new building. I think you and I have had lunch there already.
We have.
So it looks bigger. They say it's not, but the outside is huge. So for the summer, there you go. Another summer thing to do in Clarksville. Roosters will be perfect for that. So if you come down before the races, you can hit that up or even hit afterwards. So our second bus race, again, we're like I said, we're doing it for the Kentuckiana Friends of V. All the buses are going to be painted red, blue, and purple. They're going to mix. So it's a U of L, U of K theme. No, I'm more in Southern Indiana here, but they're still going with the U of L, U of K rival. I might throw out one of those IU colors on us just to surprise everybody. But, we are actually painting all the buses up. We are looking for sponsorship. We have, I'll get this on our show coming up. We're going to do a QR code where people can just hit it on a GoFundMe page. So people would be able to just go ahead and make a donation charity there. And then that's going to be our second race on July 26th. And then our follow-up one will be the last one, September the 20th, I believe, which is Smokey's Discount Tobacco Outlet. Been with those people for over 15 years. It's been a great partnership with them doing the bus race. Can't thank Sherry and Matt enough there at Smokey's. So again, they're in 6 different locations, which I think they have one in Salem. They don't have one in Seymour, but there's 6 locations around there. Yeah, they're all over Southern Indiana. So.
But it's a great night at the track. You can bring your whole family. Racing usually starts at what time, Mike?
7 o'clock. Front gates open at 5:30. We're usually over by 10:30, 11. And we run the main events first. So if people want to leave a little early, we do understand kids. They don't like to stay out as late. So, if we can get most people out of there by 10:30, we're happy with the night.
And you can come hungry because the food there's amazing.
Yes, we do. We actually cook hamburgers every week now, something we didn't do. So we picked that up. We have barbecue also now that we picked up. And then we do nachos, cheese, pretzels, all the fun thing, popcorns, and then you have soda, and we have a novelty booth for kids to pick up items and stuff.
So if someone wants to get into racing, what do they need to do?
Well, there's all kind of things to say to get into racing. Have a lot of money. That's the biggest thing. A racer will tell you that. You have to have money. We do have this new Smack Talker division. You can get in as low as $500 because we don't. All you got to do
now
there
you're
is
talking my language.
you take the windows out. You just wear the regular belt.
What kind of car are you driving in a Smack Talk? What do I need to start shopping for?
Front wheel drive, a Cord, 4-door, 2-door. We've got all kind of Acuras. Anything you can have a shifter car. Most of these cars are all going to the junkyard that we get, and you have to put a door plate on it. And then what we do there is we don't run the full quarter-mile asphalt track. Sometimes because of it being a figure-8 track, they'll run like kidney beans. They'll run like a teardrop. So we can do all kind of things there. And then we actually will go where we go the opposite way of the track to run an oval race, which really makes it tight. So it's really interesting. There's a little beating and banging, and it turns into somewhat, if you have 20 plus cars more on that one, more like a demo survival race. But it's fun to watch. I mean, the fans love it. And, again, my kids, that's one of the things ever since we've had it, they've even had a Smack Talker. They've never raced a race, but they've had one around the racetrack. So they've got to do all the things we do. And they're only 13 and 12. So my kids have grown up a rough life doing car racing.
I'm sure. It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, Mike. If you want to get connected, you can go to sportsdromespeedway.com, get your tickets, get a full racing schedule. That's available as well on their Facebook page. We'll be back here on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask.
Crossroads Acoustic Fest returns to downtown Seymour April 25th and 26th. It's a weekend filled with talented musicians from all over the world, including Ben Chapman, Sean McConnell, and Meg McCree, plus regional musicians Alex Williams, Jason Wilbur, and the Tillers. Performances take place in multiple downtown listening rooms, and your weekend pass gives you access to all the songs and all the stories. Delicious food and beer will be available all weekend. Check out the entire 2025 lineup and get your tickets at crossroadsacousticfest.com.
We're back on Southern Indiana now, and so excited to have Gary Robertson with us. And of course, we're talking with Gary today about, as part of our outdoor episode, talking all about caves in Southern Indiana. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning to you. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks so much for joining us. And let's talk about your history with caving and how'd you get started?
Well, when I was an 11-year-old Boy Scout, my very first camping trip in 1958, we went to a place near Spring Mill Park. In fact, it's part of Spring Mill Park now, called Cave River Valley, and I crawled into a cave called Lamplighters, and from that moment on, I was hooked on caves.
Tell me a little bit about the caving system in Southern Indiana and what people can expect.
If you go caving in Indiana, it's usually going to be wet. We have some really big caves in Indiana. The Binkley Cave System, at a little over 46 miles, is in the top 10 longest cave systems in the United States, and we have several other caves that are over 20 miles, but of course, and we have about 3,000 caves, give or take, here in Southern Indiana. Most of them are only a few hundred feet long, and I don't know, there's probably 150 or 200 of them that are several thousand feet or longer in length.
Tell me about some safety tips. If people see a kind of a hole in the ground, that doesn't mean they should automatically go in it, right?
No, definitely not. There is, especially if you're not prepared, there's problems. First of all, because a lot of our caves are wet, you want to be careful going in quite a few of them if there's a chance of rain, but mainly you need to have good equipment and you need to know what you're doing. You need to go with at least 3 or 4 people, and you need to have extra sources of light. You need to have helmets and gloves and proper boots, not be going in tennis shoes and shorts, and really people should. We have what we call grottos that are local chapters of the National Speleological Society. There's one in Bloomington, there's one in Indianapolis, Evansville, Louisville, Kentucky, and there's one up by Fort Wayne and South Bend. So people who want to go caving should get in touch with a grotto, and they'll be glad to take them on some beginner trips, make sure they have the right equipment. A lot of people like to go down what we call pits or vertical shafts that lead into the cave, and then you're hanging on a rope, rappelling down, and you have to learn how to climb out. And a grotto can teach you the proper equipment and how to do that and stay safe.
All right, fantastic. Well, definitely need to check out some more information about caving, especially in Southern Indiana. Gary, I know you've got a new book. Let's talk about that and where people can grab it.
Well, I'm working on a book right now called Mud, Water, and Guts, Hoosier Cavers in Their Caves. It should be out around the end of this year, first of next year. And it's profiles of all the 350 of the most significant cave explorers in Indiana, starting with the Native Americans who were the first explorers in caves over 2,000, 3,000 years ago here in Indiana and up to the present. My last book that I finished is called A God Project, and it's kind of an autobiography, but it's also a story of over 60 years of exploration in the Binkley Cave System, which is the longest cave system in Indiana. And that one's available right now. You can get it on Amazon just under the name A God Project, not The God Project.
Well, definitely want to check out his previous works in regards to caving and where you can go get more information. We'll be back right here on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask.
Crossroads Acoustic Fest returns to downtown Seymour April 25th and 26th. It's a weekend filled with talented musicians from all over the world, including Ben Chapman, Sean McConnell, and Meg McCree, plus regional musicians Alex Williams, Jason Wilbur, and the Tillers. Performances take place in multiple downtown listening rooms, and your weekend pass gives you access to all the songs and all the stories. Delicious food and beer will be available all weekend. Check out the entire 2025 lineup and get your tickets at crossroadsacousticfest.com.
And we're back for Southern Indiana Now, and we are honored to have Jane with us today with Meals on Wheels, and she is part of our Hoosier Good News segment. So she's spreading some good news a lot, and that comes in the form of food, which is the love language for a lot of people. And so, Jane, first of all, just thank you for being a volunteer and doing what you do with Meals on Wheels. let's talk about what that program is. How did you get started volunteering for such a great program?
Well, thanks. And thanks for just listening to our story.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do need for you to know that we have been around for 50 years. We just
Wow.
celebrated our locally,
Okay.
our 50th anniversary. And that's a big
Wow.
deal for us. We
big,
serve
yeah.
anyone who is unable to prepare themselves a basic daily diet.
Okay.
People tend to think that we're a seniors organization, and we're not. We will serve anybody, again, who's unable to do that for themselves. It may be an elderly person. It may be a 20 or 30 something that is having surgery and has to be out of work 6 or 8 weeks. So we would certainly help them as well.
Yeah. All right. I love that. So, do you serve meals daily? How does that work?
We do. We deliver Monday through Friday, midday. We offer both a hot and a cold meal, and typically most of the customers will get both. And we deliver them hot, and they will eat that one in the middle of the day and save the cold one for dinner. Doesn't matter; they're in microwavable containers, so they can reheat if they want to have their big meal at night.
Wow.
But yeah.
Well, you must have a heart for others. So let's talk about you specifically and your spirit of volunteering.
Oh, wow.
And tell me a little bit about your story and then how others can get involved.
Gotcha. Well, I'm obviously not from this area. I moved here from Charlotte, North Carolina to help care for a grandchild.
Okay.
And did that from birth until he started school, and spent the last year or so before he started school saying, okay, what are you going to do with yourself now? Because we're kind of joined at the hip. And I do have a passion for helping people. I have two real passions. One is feeding people, and the other is concern about people who don't have others to visit them, whether they're in the hospital or nursing home. I'm also a hospice volunteer.
Okay.
So it kind of all works together.
You are literally the spirit of Hoosier Good News. You are the reason why we want this segment, because there's people out there like you, and that's good news. People need to know that. So you just started? Is that what?
Well, you know what? I was familiar with Meals on Wheels in North Carolina. And so I made some inquiries to find out if there was a local chapter, if you will.
Yeah.
And that's how I found them. And I started out volunteering as a delivery driver, and I'm now on the board. And so, it's just, we've come a long way.
Well, it sounds
come a
like
long
it.
way
Yeah,
in
it sounds
this.
like you went from nothing to something.
Well, I will tell you, Kelly, one of the most fun things, and I think this is a good story that tells a lot. I had a lady that I delivered to one day, and it was her second day on service. And I said to her, do you think this is going to work for you? What do you think? And she very seriously said to me, the real reason I'm doing this is to make sure somebody checks on me every day. And so, we all know people. Maybe it's that elderly gentleman that sits down the pew from you in church, or a neighbor, certainly parents, grandparents who need help. Yeah. And so, what we need is for people to reach out and say, hey, Mrs. Jones may need you, or could we talk about that? We are a self-pay organization. However, many insurance companies will foot that bill.
Wow.
Depends on the insurance company. We certainly don't.
Sure.
We don't know.
Yeah.
So, it's just a matter of checking with your own people as to what. There's a lot of help around. So.
Yeah. Well, you know what I love about you, and I met you a few times, but you always have your eyes open and you're always watching for people. And that is very special. And that's what I love about this segment, because it really does just highlight how we should be as people. And I love that. So if someone wants to help you with the Meals on Wheels initiative, or if you need, a driver and they don't mind to volunteer a couple days a week, even one day a week, whether it's in this community or theirs, how can they get in touch with you? Or?
Well, we certainly have a Facebook presence.
Okay,
and,
perfect.
They can always call me, Jane
Yeah.
Norman, and it's funny. I still kept my North Carolina phone number, so people kind of panic when they see my number come up on their phone, but it's a 704 area code.
Okay. So if you see that, you need to answer it, because it has food involved.
Yes.
Not a car insurance program.
But I think what's really important, and of course, again, Jane Norman, 704-408-6837.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing, Kelly, is people don't always realize that they even want to volunteer until they're asked, or if they're given really some real face-to-face kind of options.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a big deal just for us to say, you can do it. Come, you don't have to commit. Come and ride along with one of our existing drivers and see what that's like.
Yeah. What kind, is it an hour or two a day? What is the time frame?
We pick up our meals. The nutritional services at Schneck provides the local meals for us. And we pick them up between 11:15 and 11:30 each morning. And we try to keep, we have 4 routes right now here. And we try to keep those to close to an hour, like 10 stops, so that the people that are still working can do it on their lunch hour.
I love that.
We have individuals, we have couples, we have 2 best friends that do it. St. Ambrose School delivers for us. We have employees from Cummins and Ison that deliver for us during the day. Sororities. So
any kind of philanthropic.
Sure.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, do get connected with Jane Norman. She is with the local area Meals on Wheels, and definitely if you're something you're interested in, you want to connect with that in your community, you can do that. And we'll be back here on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask. Some things you need to get on your calendar. Of course, there's all sorts of things happening in and around Southern Indiana, but the Southern Indiana Renaissance Fair, that's going to be opening up. And of course, you need to check that out. And that's at Swifty Farms, and that's from 10 a.m. to 7, so lots of fun with that. Wings over Muscatatuck at the Muscatatuck National Wildlife Refuge, which that's a great beaming of excellence here in Southern Indiana. So much wildlife. You can do so many things at the Muscatatuck Wildlife Refuge. So you want to check that out, as well as in Bartholomew County. And that's to our north. You can check out the Pickers Vintage Fest. That's the 812 Pickers Vintage Fest happening at the Bartholomew County Fairgrounds. So a lot of food trucks, fun treasures. You'll be able to find it all there, located in the Columbus area. Keep it right here on Southern Indiana Now. We'll be back next week with another episode all lined up just for you.